Hi guys, I'm Justin Calvert with GameSpot.com. I'm here with Dan Ciappini from our Australian office. Only get to see this guy once or twice a year.
It's worth it. We're going to make it worth it.
We
This is
are.
going to be gold.
Yes, and so Dan, you just got back from the Microsoft booth where you got to
Yes.
check out Project Spark.
Yes.
Now I want to know all about it because I was really pumped after seeing it at the press conference.
Yeah, so the stuff they showed at the press conference was a pretty good demo for it.
Okay.
And it was weird because it was demoed by Phil Harrison, formerly of Sony, and he was kind of
Right.
steering that Little Big Planet ship
Yeah, he
about
was.
this big creation thing. And this is really, from the look of it, Microsoft's push into that same sort of give players tools rather than content space.
Sure.
So the stuff that they're showing was they haven't confirmed if it's going to be a retail product or a download product yet.
Oh, okay.
They've just said that it works with a standard Xbox One controller and it works with the Surface. So you'll be able to either do it as you would creating with like a Forge Halo style editor,
Yep.
or if you want to drag it around as you kind of pinch and zoom stuff, you can do that on a tablet as well.
Oh, okay. So
and
any,
you
so
can-
any smart glass device?
Yeah,
Probably,
exactly.
right,
Sorry,
okay.
yeah. It'll work with any smart glass device. They're saying that there's no real advantage to doing it on the smart glass at the moment.
Okay.
Feature-wise, they're going to be identical. But they were saying that the play portion of when you actually send it to the kind of virtual space to run through the thing you've made, it's a
Yeah.
little easier on a standard controller than it is
Right,
doing
right.
it with digital analog. The stuff they're showing off here is they're still a little bit cagey. There's almost a free-to-play style model around the items that'll be in games, and they're going to be a mix of individual elements and pre-created items. So they showed off a house, for example, and you can kind of de-evolve the house, I guess. You can deconstruct it and take any of the elements off and use them in isolation
So like
as
the
well.
door or
Yeah,
the
so if you've
window
got a door or
or-
window,
Okay.
and I think they showed during the press conference there was a kind of monster that was made out of houses.
Yes, that thing was awesome.
So the big thing is that you'll be able to download elements from other people. Again, they're being really sort of short at the moment about whether people will be able to create their own elements,
Okay.
whether there will be like a 3ds Max or a way to create individual textures. But at the moment,
Right.
it's just kind of loaded out, and then presumably you'll buy more of it in the future.
Okay, so it sounds like, yeah, it sounds pretty similar to, there was a browser-based thing a while ago, I guess it's probably still running, called Game Globe. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with it, but that was, the tools look kind of similar, and I think that had some kind of free-to-play model where you could earn credits or buy credits, and you'd use that to then buy cool items that you would use in your own creation.
Yeah, and again, they're saying kind of DLC potential to be able to do maybe like item packs,
Right,
to
like
add new
themed
stuff.
packs,
Yeah,
maybe licensed theme packs,
exactly.
stuff like that.
You know, this is a really open, broad platform, and I think half of the value is in this is that you can either build from a totally blank slate and say I'm
Right.
going to draw around really easily and just kind of form the world, or the like the Microsoft press conference demo. There's a pre-formed world, and you can just decide the day. The time of day,
Right.
the location, the type of world it is, and then just drag stuff around to create moats and mountains and that kind of stuff. And I think probably the biggest potential for this is not even just the create and share aspect, where I build a world and then give it to you to play with.
Sure.
The other half is the brains element. So if you're familiar with Disney Infinity, it's got a very basic programming language inside where
Right.
you can select an item and give it, they're calling it a brain.
Yeah.
And it's a set of pre-programmed functions, and it's very much kind of programming 101. It's, you know, whens and ifs. So you say, when you approach item, take state, which is, you know, run away, run towards, attack. You can create
Right.
first-person shooters, third-person shooters, adventure games. You can make puzzle stuff. So it's really open and flexible.
Wow. So yeah, I was wondering about that because during the press conference, it looked like it'd be pretty easy to create some kind of Fable clone or something
Exactly.
like that. But then they real briefly showed, you know, kind of retro-looking shooters and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I mean, are they showing any of that really?
No, it's a really quick demo. I think there's
Okay.
a lot probably in here, and they're
Right.
struggling for time with let's get this line moving and still show as much as we can. I think probably the other really big opportunity, and on Fable, it almost feels like the next Fable could just be this
Right.
build your own adventure game where you know, you create your own world. Or potentially, again, they're not talking about it, but I asked some questions about whether you could sell items to other users if you
Ooh,
created
like
something.
Steam style.
Exactly.
Team Fortress 2.
And there's, you know, they're like, we're not making any announcements about that right now. And I guess it'd be a legal
man.
minefield if you download someone else's item and then modify it and then resell it to another user. Does Microsoft take a cut? Do you get the whole thing?
Yeah.
Does the Xbox One even support that kind of functionality?
I guess if you, yeah, because Little Big Planet does something similar where I can make items and share them, and then I can then decide whether or not other people are able to
Yep.
use them and share them themselves.
But you've
and stuff
never
like
been able
that.
to charge another
Exactly.
player.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is now there's money involved.
Or even just like a theme park thing where you build a world and you charge people entry. You know, there's a million
Right,
options
right.
here. And I think the other one as well is this could be a huge opportunity for, you know when developers make really great single player games and like someone at the publisher maybe decide we had to throw in a multiplayer mode, so they threw in this kind of crappy thing over the top. Rather than have to build all of the tools, if this has already got a share platform opportunity, could
Right.
this even be a world builder and like mod tools for every game that wants to adopt it? And Microsoft could
Wow.
continue to evolve it. And then I guess the only concern would be that if the tools are flexible enough, you'll never get two experiences that are quite the same. And developers
Right.
could create the assets, whereas users maybe couldn't. But
Man.
this idea of saying we're just going to focus all on single player, but we want a multiplayer mode, and we'll do it in this open, free thing that already has infrastructure built into it, that already has the tools made. That's a cool
Right.
potential for, I think, the Xbox One.
Man. So did it convince you to buy an Xbox One?
I wouldn't buy an Xbox One just for Project Spark,
Okay.
and I'm not entirely convinced it's a game at the moment.
How about Project Spark plus Titanfall? Because that's pretty much why I've ordered an Xbox One.
It starts to become, and
For those two
Forza
games.
as well is looking fantastic.
Oh, that's true. Forza as
Yeah,
well.
there's so much potential for this platform, and I'm really interested to see how Project Spark evolves over time.
Right. Cool. Well, for more on Project Spark and all of the other Xbox One, PS4, and games on every other platform, be sure to check out the rest of GameSpot's coverage coming out of E3. And if you have any questions about these games, ask us them on Twitter using the hashtag GameSpotE3.